I reached for another can of warm Coke. A godforsaken hole where even the refrigerator had given up the ghost. Actually, I'm in the back office of an old gas station where I got a summer job. Nothing keeps me in the city, so I've been simply living here for a month and a half now. I keep in touch with the outside world via my tablet. My daily routine consists of filling out gas receipts and selling cigarettes and chewing gum. Nothing special. It's tens of kilometers from the nearest town. I'd be lucky if a dozen drivers drop by in a day. So life is good. No one's around, no bosses bothering me. Just hanging out in the fresh air and snapping pictures of the panorama to the envy of my friends languishing in the smog of the metropolis. My little cubbyhole contains a cot, a cash register, a desk where I eat and do my accounting, a tray with cigarettes, chewing gum, and other gum, a non-functioning refrigerator stocked with soda and juice, a couple of chairs, a table lamp, and plasterboard walls. The furnishings are simple and so familiar that I feel like I could easily navigate it, even with my eyes closed. There's also an outside toilet, but that's beside the point. Outside the window lies a typical Russian field of wheat. The grain grows luxuriantly, glittering golden in the sun, rippling in the wind like a sea. It's impossible to take your eyes off it, pure zen. The sky here is full of stars, not like in the city. You go outside at night, throw your head back, and your eyes are dazzled by them. You can't count them. To the left of the highway is a field, to the right, an impenetrable forest. They say there are still wolves there. I've never heard one though, but one day, right at dawn, a handsome deer emerged from the thicket. I love the wilderness. And so I lived in harmony with nature and Wi-Fi until something happened. Early one morning, as was my custom, I left my cubicle for a light jog around the gas station to finally wake up and recharge before the long day. As I began my first lap, I tripped over a cobblestone I'd stumbled across. I nearly fell to the ground, but regained my balance, instinctively glancing down. And I was stunned. In the dust, besides the tracks of my sneakers, I discerned the imprint of a bare foot. Damn. In this forgotten backwater, where a car passes by once an hour, someone barefoot was hanging out under my windows. I was quite surprised and even a little scared. I decided to check where the tracks led, but unfortunately, I must have trampled the rest because I found nothing. Shrugging, I finished my run and returned to my usual activities, soon forgetting about the incident. But the strange track still troubled me. Nightmares came that night. I dreamed I was standing at the edge of a field. The rye was dancing. A breeze ruffled my sun-bleached hair. I could smell the sweet air. But something was wrong. Dark figures were moving straight toward me across the field, tall, with arms outstretched, hobbling in the distance. It was pitch black all around. I stood rooted to the spot, and the figures were black, blacker than night, unable to discern any details. They were getting closer, but still far away. I turned away from them and woke up. It was the dead of night. The air was humming, so quiet. Even the crickets had fallen silent. I spend some time online, then disconnect until morning. The day passes as usual. And in the evening, I have a conversation with a guy from around here. He has a Volga that's seen Gorbachev, a leather jacket, gold teeth, a sly squint, and a solid Jawa. We're both having nothing better to do, chatting about this and that. Suddenly, the guy asks me if anything strange has ever happened to me here. I vividly recalled the story about the footprint and, risking ridicule, posted it. "Oh," says the man. "So, brother, she came by." I'm surprised. "What's she like? Who is she?" "What, you haven't heard of this gas station?" he replies. "It was a nasty business, to be honest." "So, how did it all go?" "There was a guy who used to work here, about 6 months ago, I think. A regular guy, just quiet, gloomy. Well, it all happened late in the fall. A girl came to visit him at the gas station. I don't know how it happened, but it was a shame she didn't drive by. The guy killed her. He defiled and strangled her, the poor thing, and then hanged himself. They were found the next day. She was on the couch. He was hanging from the chandelier. That's how it is, brother. I drive by here often, but every time I see a new face, people don't linger. What can I say? It's a bad place, but don't worry. God won't give you up. A pig won't eat you. What can I say? I was impressed. It hit me so hard that a herd of goosebumps ran down my spine. I thanked the guy for the interesting tale before bed, mentally wishing him neither the bottom nor the tire. He made the sign of the cross over me and cast off, and I stayed behind. I suffered without sleep for a long time. I brewed some mint tea and surfed the internet without pleasure. Then, sleep overtook me. The field again. A girl is running across the field, a light white dress, dark hair. I watch her for a while, then notice them, those black shadows, her hands in front of her, slowly floating in a sea of rye. Silence. The girl runs, unable to see the road. She is terribly frightened. She is running. I understand. The shadows are not chasing me at all. The next scene. The victim stumbles, her white dress sinking into the rye, and figures bending quietly over her. I wake up. I think to myself, I must have dreamed something like this. I think once again of yesterday's villager, damn him, stretch, and go out to do my morning chores. Then I find a red ribbon tied to the doorknob of my little room. I break out in a cold sweat, wondering where it could have come from and whose bad joke this is. Could it really be yesterday's conversation partner? No reason. He has nothing better to do than to intimidate the townspeople. Although, who knows? In short, I spent the day in doubt and apprehension, trying to get anyone who stopped by to talk. The loneliness weighed on me, hindered me, weighed me down. It began to get dark, and I felt downright uneasy. Usually, no one arrives at this time. But then something crashed loudly from the road, a branch under the wheel. But I couldn't hear the engine. I strained, my ears straining. A silence hung heavy in the air. A mosquito buzzed past like a heavy bomber. I grabbed my phone and started dialing a friend's number to distract myself. No one. Okay, another one. Beep, another beep. And then the silence was shattered by a piercing, wild female scream from the field. I dropped the phone in surprise and froze, neither alive nor dead, completely stunned. I'd never heard anything like it, even in horror movies, let alone at a remote gas station in total isolation. I glanced at my hands. They were shaking. Of course, another scream. Closer now. Very close to me. Panic was setting in. Not knowing where to hide, I sat down on the floor by the window so that it wouldn't see. It's here for my soul, isn't it? I want to go home. Anywhere, just not stay here. Quiet. The silence is more terrifying. What does it conceal? Unbearable. I sat there for 2 minutes. My heart pounded like an imperial march, my fingers clutching the old carpet. Gone? I'm not going to get up. If I have to, I'll spend the night on the floor. I won't budge. Damn it. I forgot to close the windows. It's going to climb through the windows. What if? Then, as if to confirm my thoughts, a hoarse sob sounded right overhead, like someone trying to breathe, but unable to. I was pressed against the wall. The young lady is dead, flashed incongruously through my mind. Another sob sounded upstairs. Mesmerized, I raised my head and looked at the window. Empty. I covered my face with my hands, buried my head in my knees, and shook like a leaf. The hoarse coughing sounded again, this time at the front door. I don't know why I did it, but I couldn't resist dropping to the carpet and staring at the gap between the door and the floor. Graceful white feet, tinged with blue, were visible in the crack. Holy Mother of God. Then my gaze caught the phone I'd dropped earlier, lying there, just within reach. I should take a picture. A stupid thought flashed through my head. A ghost caught on camera. What a sensation. And no matter if not everyone believes it, I'll know the truth. Overcome with excitement, overpowering even my terror, I darted for the phone. Armed with a lousy camera, I pressed myself to the floor. The feet were still there, the bluish-black edges of their rough nails, and snapped a couple of photos. I immediately went to the gallery to check the results. Nothing. The door was there, the floor. The crack was empty, as if nothing stood before me now. Cold sweat trickled down my back. My heart thundered treacherously throughout the closet. My thirst for sensation evaporated, leaving me alone with what stood behind the door. There was another wheezing sound outside, and then something happened that added grey hairs to my hair. The door handle twitched, first gently, as if someone was testing it, then more insistently, more brazenly. Something shook the door violently. Its hinges groaned, and I nearly gave up my soul. I would give anything in the world right now, if only this would go away. I began to scan the room, frantically trying to figure out what I could use in the fight for life. No, it's all wrong. I'm not going to pelt her with soda cans and trash from the trash can. Stop. The trash can. And into it, I threw the red ribbon tied to the door handle. There was no doubt about it. Trying not to make a sound, I crept quietly to the trash can and tilted it. There she was, the villain, glowing red from above. I carefully took the ribbon between 2 fingers. The air outside grew silent. Holding my breath, I struck a lighter. The flame quickly caught and began to rise. The silk blackened before my eyes with a disgusting squeal. The fire consumed it, leaving not even an ash. the room filled with the smell of burnt rags. I disgustedly tossed the smouldering scrap of fabric onto the carpet, not at all surprised that soon not a trace remained of the murder weapon. Fire cleanses everything, I remembered for some reason. I sat on the floor in absolute silence, hopelessly waiting for what would happen next, because I couldn't think of anything else. And then laughter came from behind the door, pure girlish laughter. It was so happy, so clear, like a forest stream, that my soul immediately brightened. I glanced at the door, already knowing there was no one behind it. The laughter echoed, receding, and I gradually came to my senses. She was gone. I somehow made it through the morning and then hitched a ride to town. Naturally, I left work. I've often thought about that night since then. What happened to that girl? Did she find peace, or does she still haunt the parking lot? And it's a shame, of course, that nothing was captured in the photos. But I'm not tempted to tempt fate or seek new adventures just yet. I'm never going back into the wilderness.